What's up everybody, this is Jesus, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to start Freeform Dreads. So just a little bit about myself. I'm about 2 months into my journey, but I've come across some really good articles and stuff about Freeform Dreads, or how to start natural dreads. Yeah, I'm just going to cover those points. So there's 3 things that you got to do. Three general things that you want to do if you want to start Freeform Dreads. The first thing is to stop combing. So put down the brush, put down the comb, don't comb your hair. Yeah, dreadlocks are knots on knots on knots on knots. So like your hair, when left as is, it will want to knot up. It's just naturally what the hair wants to do. So to start natural dreads, you have to put down the brush. So yeah, so that's the first tip. Stop combing, put down the brush. So the second point, the second tip is to stop using conditioner. And when I say conditioner, I mean like the conditioner you buy on shelves, like at Walmart or at Sally's or the pharmacy, wherever. You don't want to use that kind of conditioner. It is important to condition your hair, but I'll go over it later in this video. Natural ways to condition your hair, because if you use conditioner that's on the shelves, what will end up happening is you will build up residue. It'll leave residue behind, because it has all these chemicals in conditioner to make your hair moisturized, and it'll leave all that stuff on your hair, and that's not ideal for starting dreadlocks, because pretty much it just makes the hairs, when they run past each other, they'll just slip by each other, as opposed as to when you're not using conditioner. When they slip by, you know, the friction makes them want to knot up, and that's what you want. You want your hair to knot up. You don't want to use conditioner on the shelves, because it'll prevent your hair from knotting up. But like I said, there's natural ways you can go about. It's important to condition your hair, just to not use the conditioner that's on shelves at a store. But I'll go over later in this video how you can naturally condition your hair. So the third point, the third tip, number 3, is to wear a hat. A hat, like a loose fitting hat. Like ideally you want to wear like a tam or like a dreadlock hat, like I have on now. Something loose fitting. You don't want to wear a really tight hat, just because of the fact that it restricts the movement of the hair. But if you wear a loose fitting hat, it allows the hairs to, you know, rub past each other more, and just creates more friction between the hairs while they're inside the hat. And that's what you want. So just go like a long period of time, you know, wearing a hat, or just try to wear it throughout the day, majority of the day. But it just lets the hairs slide past each other and, you know, lock up or knot up. It just gives it more opportunity to do that. So yeah, those are the 3 tips for how to start Freeform Dreads. Some things I want to talk about as well is some things I want to talk about as well is the washing and drying process that goes along with starting Freeform Dreads. Water, contrary to belief that Dreadlocks have to be dirty in order to lock. That's not so. You have to wash your dreads. You have to wash your hair to make dreads. Clean hair dreads best, and dry hair dreads best. Also, water is really good because you want the hairs to form a pattern with the knots, and when you get your hair wet, it weighs that strand or that group of hairs down to the head slightly, depending on how long your hair is. But it weighs, if it's longer, it'll weigh it down too, because the water's running through it. The water allows it to create a pattern naturally, as opposed to using a crochet needle or back combing your dreads. Those are not natural. That's not a natural pattern for your hair, because it's forced. And when you go to wash your hair, it kind of just goes everywhere. You want the hair to be able to be washed efficiently, like to run through the entire dread. Water should be able to run through the entire dread to the tips. Or, you know, if it's shorter, you know, it'll just flow to the side or whatever. But yeah, so water is really important when it comes to your dreads, because it helps form the patterns in each individual dread. Helps form those patterns so that they look more like rope, and so that they can be dried and washed efficiently. So anyway, on the topic of washing, what you want to do when starting off, if you're starting off like me, 2 months or less, and you're gonna wash your dreads, so pretty much just keep in mind that washing dreads takes a little longer than normal hair. I've had dreads in the past and I'm trying to grow them again, but anyway, yeah, so you just want to wash your dreads often, or normally, like you would normally wash your hair. Just when it comes to the rinsing, you want to rinse a lot, and then after you think you're done rinsing, you know, rinse 2 to 3 more times to make sure that everything is washed out of your hair. Also, you want to use a non-residue shampoo. I use Dr. Bronner's, but you can really use any kind of shampoo. I've seen people do it and they have, you know, perfect dreads. But for me, I guess there's like a middle ground for me. I mean, if I don't have nothing else to wash my hair with, I'll use normal shampoo. But you just have to make sure that you rinse it out really, really well. You're gonna spend a little while just rinsing your hair to make sure all the shampoo is washed out of your hair. But yeah, so I use Dr. Bronner's soap or shampoo, whatever you want to call it, and I bought a pump, like a soap pump, and I filled it up maybe about this much with Dr. Bronner's, and I will pump, you know, 2 pumps into my hand, and I will take that soap and just, you know, get it everywhere, on the back, on the sides, until it lathers up. And yeah, that's really what you want to do. You know, let it lather it up the best you can, and then just let the water run everywhere. Just run the water on your head, and the water will you know, disperse the soap throughout the hair, throughout the scalp, and it'll travel down the dreads naturally. And that's what you want to do. But when starting off, you want to be really gentle with your hair. if at all possible, just try to try to just put some soap on your scalp. You know, like move the hair and just put it to your scalp, and then try to work your fingers between your dreads and just try to massage your scalp to make it lather up. You don't want to mess with the dreads that are trying to form too much, because it'll make them unravel because of the water. And so yeah, just want to give you that advice. So you just want to wash your hair, rinse your hair really well. Then when you think you're done rinsing, rinse a couple more times, 2 to 3 more times, and just make that a habit, because you really have to rinse your hair a lot. And especially when your dreadlocks get longer, like when your hair gets longer, the bigger that they get, the longer you have to rinse your hair, because you know, it's like a sponge. When your dreads get so long, they're like a sponge, because it's so many knots and it's so matted. When they get so long, you really have to like wring them like a sponge. But when you get to that point, that's when I would worry about it. If you're like me, 2 months or less, or you're just starting off, you don't really have to worry about that. But just really keep in mind to not, you know, mess with the dreads that are forming too much, because they will unravel because of the water. So yeah, so the next thing is drying. So I'll make this really quick. So when you dry, I use a hair bonnet, like the ones in the salon. It was like $50, but you can get it cheaper online, like 30 something. And yeah, so pretty much you just try to dry your hair as efficiently as possible. And I would get one of those hair bonnet dryers, and yeah, that'd be the best way to dry your hair. Once they start getting length and start getting longer, you might have to end up like tying your hair up. But while your hair is short and you're in my situation, you know, that's the best thing you can use, is just a hair bonnet dryer. So yeah, I think that's about it. And also talking about the conditioning side, there's natural ways you can condition. I'll make a dedicated video for this, but long story short, what you want to use essential oils. You can't really tell because the camera won't focus, but this is peppermint oil, and it's an essential oil. Really what you want to do to condition your hair, you want to buy like a little spritz bottle, you know, like a tiny little spritz bottle, and make sure there's nothing in it. Make sure it's clean. You can buy them empty, you know, just the can or the whatever plastic. And if you're gonna reuse something, I would just make sure you wash it out, and you know, fill it with water, and make sure you spray it with the water in there to get all the stuff that was in there before out completely. So yes, you would take that spritz bottle, fill it up with a little bit of water, maybe about that much water. You know, this is the bottom of the bottle, about that much. And then you want to take your essential oil and drop about 5 to 12 drops of essential oil in that bottle or can or whatever, and shake it up really good. And then after that, you will just spritz it on your hair. It will make your hair smell really good, and at the same time it will condition the hair. But yeah, I think that's about it. Also, stay away from deep cleans. Like you might encounter people advising that you do a deep clean with baking soda and apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is good for conditioning your dreads, but I would only use it when you're done washing your hair, and I would pour some apple cider vinegar over your head, everywhere, and just let it, just let it run through, let it run down. And after that, I would rinse it out, because you don't want to leave apple cider vinegar just sitting in your hair. But yeah, I would just rinse that out after you do a apple cider vinegar rinse. But with the baking soda, I would not wash with baking soda, because I had a bad experience with that. When I last cut my dreads off, I looked inside of my dreads and there was baking soda inside of my dreads. They make you think that, soaking your hair in baking soda is enough to clean it, and in actuality, it just stays inside the dread when it dries. So if you do a deep clean, my advice would be to, after you soak your hair in baking soda, I would go ahead and shower your hair, or wash your hair like a normal routine, and just rinse it really, really well to make sure you get all the baking soda out. But my personal opinion, I would advise against baking soda deep cleans, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's gonna be it. This was how to start freeform dreads. I hope I gave you a lot of useful information, and I will see you guys later. Alright, peace.